Are you struggling to improve your English speaking skills but don't know where to start? Or maybe you're too shy to practice with others? Don't worry, I've got you covered. Let's dive in with your hosts, Nat and Sasha.
Okay, so we've all had that moment, right? You're trying to speak English, you want to get your point across, but the words just won't cooperate.
Yeah.
They just don't come out right.
Yeah, it can be so frustrating.
It's like you've got all these thoughts jumbled up in your head because you can't seem to weave them into, you know, spoken words.
It's like having this amazing tapestry in your mind, but you can't quite figure out how to stitch it together verbally.
Exactly. So today we're going to do a deep dive into some really practical strategies that you can use right away to unlock fluency and speak English with more confidence.
And the best part is you can do all of this on your own.
Yeah, no
Or
excuses.
no excuses.
All right, so let's just dive right in. One of the biggest things that I think holds people back is just not having enough words at their fingertips.
Yeah, it's that tip of the tongue feeling.
Yes.
Where you know exactly what you want to say, but the word is just gone.
It's so frustrating. So what's the secret weapon here? Obviously more words, but how you learn them makes a huge difference.
Absolutely. Instead of just memorizing long lists, try learning just 3 to 5 new words per day and then actually use them.
Okay, so in a sentence out loud.
Exactly. Make real sentences out loud. It might feel a little silly at first, but trust me, it helps.
I'm picturing myself learning the word opportunity and then saying something like, this is a fantastic opportunity to practice my English.
Perfect. That's
Yeah.
exactly what I mean. You're making it real. You're making it stick.
Got it. Okay, so we've got the vocabulary boost. But what about practice? A lot of people get stuck because they think they need a partner to really improve their speaking.
I hear this all the time. But the truth is, the best speaking partner you'll ever have is yourself.
Wait, are you seriously suggesting people talk to themselves?
Absolutely. Think about it. When you talk to yourself, there's zero pressure. You can try out new words, experiment with different phrases, work on your pronunciation, all without feeling self-conscious.
So it's like a judgment-free zone for English practice.
Exactly. Plus, it forces you to think in English rather than translating everything in your head, which is a huge step towards fluency.
Okay, that's a really good point. I'm definitely adding self-chat to my routine.
It works wonders.
Yeah.
Trust me. Now, even though practicing on your own is great, at some point you'll probably want to get feedback from others. But I know for a lot of people, the fear of making mistakes is paralyzing.
Oh, this is huge. So many people avoid speaking English altogether because they're terrified of messing up or sounding silly.
Right, but here's the thing. Mistakes are inevitable.
I mean, yeah.
They're not failures, they're just opportunities to learn and grow.
Okay, I like that. It's like each mistake is a little clue helping you solve the puzzle of fluency.
Exactly. And remember, the goal is to be understood, not to be perfect.
That's a good point.
So instead of letting the fear of mistakes hold you back, embrace them as valuable learning opportunities.
Easier said than done, though.
Yeah.
Right? How do we actually start speaking without feeling terrified?
Start small.
Yeah.
Focus on basic phrases like, I want coffee, or how are you?
So don't worry about complex grammar or using fancy vocabulary, right?
Exactly. Just focus on communicating your basic needs and wants. As you get more comfortable, you can start expanding your vocabulary and sentence structures.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, here's another habit that I know trips a lot of people up, translating everything in their heads before speaking.
Ah, yes, the translation loop. This is a major roadblock to fluency. It slows down your thinking and makes conversations feel choppy.
It's like hitting the brakes every few seconds.
Exactly. And the key to breaking free is to start thinking directly in English as much as possible.
Okay, but how do you actually do that? That sounds really hard.
It's all about baby steps. Start by simply naming objects around you in English, then describe your actions as you're doing them, things like I'm opening the door or I'm making dinner.
So basically narrate your life in English even if it feels weird at first.
Exactly. Over time, this will rewire your brain to think in English more naturally, which is crucial for fluent speaking.
Wow, I'm seeing a pattern here. Small, consistent actions lead to big changes. And that brings us to another challenge, pronunciation.
This is a common concern, but remember, pronunciation, like any skill, can be improved with practice.
Okay, so spill the beans. What's the secret?
One incredibly effective technique is called shadowing. You listen to native speakers and try to imitate their pronunciation as closely as
So,
possible.
so like podcasts, audio books, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Pay attention to their intonation, their rhythm, the way they emphasize certain words. It's like stepping into their vocal shoes.
So you're basically becoming a vocal chameleon mirroring the sounds and rhythms of native speakers.
Precisely. And if you want some extra help, there are some great apps out there that can analyze your pronunciation and give you personalized feedback.
Awesome. So we've covered a lot of ground here. Limited vocabulary, lack of practice, fear of making mistakes, translating in your head pronunciation woes. Now, before we dive into specific strategies for tackling these challenges, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll be exploring practical tips and techniques for building unstoppable momentum in your English-speaking journey.
All right, so we've talked about some of the big challenges, right?
Yeah.
Like the things that can make speaking English feel like a real uphill battle. But now let's switch gears a bit.
Yeah, let's get practical.
Let's focus on how we can actually overcome those obstacles and really start building some momentum in our English speaking journey.
I like it. Ditch the frustration and unlock that inner English speaker.
Exactly. And one of the most powerful ways to do that is by setting small, achievable goals.
Oh, yeah, this is huge.
Instead of trying to climb Mount Everest all in one problem, go think about setting up those base camps along the way.
Okay, so instead of saying, I'm going to be fluent in like a month, I might say something like, I'm going to practice speaking for 10 minutes every single day.
Perfect. Or, I'm going to learn 5 new phrases this week. The key is to keep those goals manageable so you don't get overwhelmed.
Right, it's like having a roadmap for your language learning journey. You can see those milestones and you know you're making progress.
Exactly. And each small win you get, each goal you achieve, it builds your confidence and it keeps you motivated.
It's like leveling up in a video game.
Exactly. Speaking of staying motivated, let's talk about having fun.
Right, learning a language shouldn't feel like a chore.
No way. If it feels like pulling teeth, you're not going to stick with it.
Totally.
And this is where a little bit of experimentation comes in. Figure out what works best for you, what really sparks your interest. Some people love structured learning, like textbooks, grammar exercises.
But some people find that super boring.
Exactly. And that's totally fine. Maybe you're a visual learner.
I love that. It's about finding what works for you and making it your own.
Exactly. The more you enjoy the process, the more consistent you'll be, and the faster you'll see results. And remember, there's no right way to learn. It's all about finding what clicks for you and weaving it into your daily routine.
So we got goal setting and finding the fun factor.
Right.
But there's another piece to this puzzle that I think is super important. Confidence.
Oh, absolutely.
Even if you have all the vocabulary in the world and you practice all the time, if you don't have confidence, it can still hold you back.
It's like the magic ingredient that brings everything together.
So how do we cultivate that inner belief, especially when we're still learning?
Well, it goes back to what we talked about before, embracing those mistakes.
Right.
Instead of seeing them as setbacks, see them as stepping stones.
Okay, yeah, I like that. It takes the pressure off.
Exactly. And remember, even native English speakers make mistakes. It's part of how language works.
So nobody's perfect, and that's totally fine. Are there any other things we can do to boost our confidence when speaking English?
Definitely. One really powerful technique is visualization. Just close your eyes and imagine yourself in a situation where you need to use English. Maybe ordering food at a restaurant, giving a presentation at work.
Okay, I'm picturing myself confidently ordering a latte and a croissant at my favorite cafe.
Perfect. See yourself speaking clearly, fluently with a smile. Hear those words flowing effortlessly. The more you practice this mental rehearsal, the more confident you'll feel when you're actually in that situation.
So it's like training your brain to believe you can do it.
Exactly. And the amazing thing is your brain often can't tell the difference between a vividly imagined experience and a real one.
So by practicing in our minds, we're actually building those neural pathways for confident speaking.
Precisely. You're setting yourself up for success.
That's so cool. Okay, I'm definitely trying that. Anything else we can do to project confidence?
Pay attention to your body language. When you stand tall, make eye contact, use open gestures, it not only makes you look more confident, it makes you feel more confident.
It's like striking a power pose for English speaking.
Exactly. And speaking of perceptions, another great tip is to surround yourself with positive reinforcement.
So find your cheer squad.
Yes. Find people who support your language learning journey, who encourage you to speak even when you stumble.
Because learning a new language can be tough. Having a supportive community makes a huge difference.
Absolutely. And don't forget to be your own cheerleader, too. Celebrate your wins no matter how small they may seem.
Like finally nailing that tricky grammar rule or having a conversation with a native speaker without feeling totally lost.
Exactly. Give yourself credit for all the hard work you're putting in.
Okay, so we've got a whole toolkit for building confidence, embrace mistakes, visualize success, confident body language, positive support. I'm feeling more empowered already. But how do we take all this amazing advice and actually make it stick?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Ultimately, it comes down to consistency, putting these strategies into practice day after day, but it's also about finding what works best for you and making it a sustainable part of your life.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all approach.
Exactly. It's about finding your rhythm, your groove, and enjoying the journey. And remember, every step you take, no matter how small, is moving you closer to your goal of speaking English confidently.
Progress, not perfection, right?
Absolutely. And as you continue on this journey, remember, you're not alone. There are so many resources available to help you, from language exchange partners and online communities to apps and podcasts like this one.
And let's not forget the power of our own inner cheerleader.
That's right. So keep practicing, keep speaking, keep believing in yourself.
I love that. So as we wrap up this deep dive into speaking English with confidence, what's one key takeaway you'd like our listeners to walk away with?
I think it really boils down to this improving your English speaking skills. It's a journey, not a destination.
I like that.
It's about embracing the process, having fun with it, and just celebrating every single step forward.
It's about progress, not perfection.
Right.
It's about the joy of learning and connecting with others.
Exactly. And remember, you're not alone in this. There are tons of resources out there to support you. Language exchange partners, online communities, apps, podcasts.
And of course, that inner cheerleader that we talked about.
Oh, absolutely. Give yourself credit for the effort you're putting in and, celebrate those wins, big or small.
Okay, so to everyone out there who's on this journey of improving their English speaking skills, you've got this embrace the challenge, have fun, and never stop learning.
We're all rooting for you.
And on that note, we're going to leave you with a little challenge. What's one specific action you can take today to put these tips into practice?
It's just one thing.
Maybe it's talking to yourself for 5 minutes. Maybe it's learning one new word.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, commit to it and watch your confidence grow.
Every step counts.
So keep those conversations flowing, keep practicing, and keep believing in your amazing ability to speak English with confidence.
Until next time, happy speaking.